Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Donald and this is Mobtv. In case this is your first time of coming to this channel, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so when there's to post a video, be it for us to get alerted. Today we have a very great personality, beautiful personality. We have him online from Canada. He is a 49-year-old man who is a father of two kids, former movie director, assistant movie director in film industry in Canada. Dan Justin, welcome to this show.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having me on.
All right, thank you so much for coming, Dan. And we want to know your perspective about this virus.
Okay, thank you for your question. My perception of this coronavirus changed over the days and weeks as they went by. When I first heard about it, I thought it was like the SARS, the H1N1, or the swine flu. It wasn't really going to change how we act socially here in Canada. As it got worse in China, we started getting daily briefings from our public health officer reminding us to constantly wash our hands to keep social distance. At that time, I did go into self-isolation with the family for 2 weeks. So shops, borders, restaurants, everything was closing down and we were being told to stay at home above all costs. That anybody could have this, that this virus could be on anybody, which caused a lot of fear and a lot of panic. And I was fearful at first until at home I started doing some research, started finding some evidence pointing out that maybe our fear was a little misguided.
There are a lot of conspiracy theories flying up the airways, like in the cyberspace, some coming from pastors, from scientists. A lot of people are just bringing up issues and theories that this virus came up with, and from China all over the world. And as a filmmaker who's been a lot of things staged in life, do you think there's a lot of things are being staged, or what is your perspective from the filming industry or from the eyes of the lens?
I want to change the narrative about the word conspiracy theory. Anything that someone says that's not from the mainstream media is now being labeled conspiracy theory. The problem is that mainstream media is not always truthful and cannot always be trusted. So sometimes independent news sources, even on YouTube, are ways to find out real news that is happening. I was in the film industry for 12 years, and I can tell you without a doubt that anything you see on TV is not real. Even reality shows are scripted. That just before someone goes on camera, that there's a hair and a makeup person there who touches them up. We have deep fake videos, which can digitally take your audio and take your video and have it do anything. So you have to be discerning and you have to be skeptical when you're looking at any kind of news sources. So why would I think that maybe this could be staged? What I do know is that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers of darkness and spiritual wickedness in high places. There was an event that happened called Event 201 in October, and this is public knowledge. It's not conspiracy theory. It's public knowledge that you had Bill Gates, the CIA, the World Health Organization, the Center for Disease Control, and the Chinese Center for Disease Control got together in October and they did a pandemic simulation using the coronavirus. So that's a little bit too much coincidence for me. And then this outbreak happens in China, not to mention they had millions of people that were rioting and looking for democracy. Well, they're not doing that anymore. Any country that has unrest doesn't have that anymore. We are all locked in our houses. So common sense was telling me just to think a little more about this. When I started looking at numbers, which I had never done before, I found out that on average, we have 7 million deaths a year to smoking, but they're still selling cigarettes to you. And you have cancer. 2.4 million people a year die, and it's well known that cancer is treated as a business model instead of them looking for a cure. The flu kills 1.5 million people a year. Pneumonia, 2.7 million people a year. Currently, right now, we have 142,707 deaths from coronavirus. In the 100,000, not in the millions. Communicable diseases is also up to 3 million. So the numbers are a lot higher for a lot of other things compared to this coronavirus. I know our measures that we took did slow it down, but the numbers are infinitesimally smaller. Lastly, you got Bill Gates and the World Health Organization that had a predictive model that was saying that millions of people were going to die. And that kind of fear is keeping everybody in their homes. But the fear really doesn't seem to be warranted. So that's why I look at it and say we have government bodies that make money off of people dying from smoking cigarettes. They make money off of people dying of cancer, but they really care about you. You know, Big Pharma right now is losing a lot of money in drugs and drug trials because the FDA is being a lot stricter. So money is in vaccines. And that's what Bill Gates and the World Health Organization has been trying to go around pushing vaccines. In Nigeria right now, you have 407 cases. Excuse me. And there is 12 dead. With 196 million people in Nigeria, that is 0.00002 of a chance that somebody can get COVID. Even if you were to tack on another million, it still wouldn't even be close to 1%.
Terror and horror have taken over the world. People are dying in their numbers. The numbers keep increasing and rising up. Bill Gates and Melinda Gates have come up to be like the anchor point to this mission because they've invested so much in the pharmaceutical industry. So, what is your perspective about these people's opinion?
I heard that it was Melinda Gates that had said that about the Africans. It's a deplorable thing to say. And I don't have to tell you about the vaccinations that they have done in Africa already. And my belief is any African that I know, and most of them are Nigerian, they're very strong and resilient people. So I don't lend anything to what they had to say.
You've used your social media to actually say that we should be aware of media and the fear that they are arousing. Yes. Can you please elaborate on that? What do you mean by the media putting fear in the minds of people?
What I was concerned about was not really the death tolls being true, but they're being inflated. There's many reports out there that are saying, from different sources that are saying that the numbers were asked to be bumped up, that people could die of pneumonia and that was getting listed as corona. So the numbers do not seem to be accurate. And there's enough reports out that this has some legs to it. Lastly, the thing that bothers me the most about this is the fact that I have all my Canadian brothers and sisters living in fear in their homes right now. They're living in fear. The economy is crushed. They're losing their jobs. It's hurting families. It's hurting relationships. Right? It's destroying people's lives over something right now that has killed just over 100,000 people. You can say just over when you're comparing it to millions of people. If you do the research, you can find out, for example, right now 397,000 people have died of car accidents. And corona is at 100,000. So you have a better chance of getting in a car accident than you do of catching COVID by going by the numbers and the stats. Lastly, fear. Fear is irrational. If you're making decisions based in fear, you don't understand reason, common sense. So think about decisions that you're making. Do the research, look at the stats, and find out that this fear is really unwarranted. Fear is gripping, is debilitating, and if it is causing you to make a decision to stay in your house, then I think you need to relook at it. Now, of course, you still wash your hands, and if you are elderly and you do have a depressed immune system, be extra cautious and do stay inside. But for anybody else, it's time to wake up and realize there's more to this coronavirus than what they're telling you.
All right, thank you so much, Dan, for coming on board on Mobtv. We really do appreciate having you, and we appreciate you 100%. And that is Dan from Canada. D's opinion. What do you think about what he said about this whole thing that is actually going on? I think that the pandemic is something that I usually call it a weak virus. Breeze is best known to me. I think we can overcome it. That's my approach to it. When I think a thing is weak, is something that I'm going to overcome. And I think if the world could see it as a weak virus, we will build the resistance internally, because everything comes from inside, to actually overcome this virus. And wherever you are, stay safe, stay healthy, eat good, and keep faith alive. We are actually going to overcome this weak virus. And my name is Donald, and this is Mobtv. Bye for now.